What up, though? Good morning and welcome to another episode of AM Opinionated. It's your man that goes by many names, monikers, and one appellation this morning. Call me Nate Goose the God. If this is your first time watching or listening to an episode of AM Opinionated, welcome. If you've been rocking with me, if you've been supporting me, if you done hit that subscribe button, that share button, that like button, if you've been rocking with me, welcome back. So remember to pay attention to all my shows. I just realized this weekend, or I've come to the knowledge this weekend, that unless you have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you cannot use their mobile live app. I did not know that. So I'm trying to set up my mobile live on YouTube, and I can't because I do not yet have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So that is my new short-term goal. My short-term goal is to have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so that I can give y'all some more like out of studio content, some more live content. It will allow me to make better videos, different perspectives in live, on live streams and things of that nature, which is why I wanted to do this weekend. I was on some Tyler Perry / Johnson Brothers type shit, trying to make little short videos, ads for everything. But I still want to thank everybody for supporting me and rocking with it. But this is my short-term goal: 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so I can get on this mobile live app. Now, I do also have a new episode of Areas of Human Activity out on Spotify. You can check it out. I think it's been published. It's got a release. It'll release probably sometime this afternoon. But so moving on to my first opinion. My first opinion is to them Kansas City Chiefs. My bad. Let me back up. To them AFC West leading, playoff bound, 13-1 Kansas City Chiefs that sent them Saints marching on home yet again. Like, I believe they said this was the first time that Drew Brees had played against Pat Mahomes, right? So my question to Drew would be, how'd that feel? You know what I'm saying? Like, not only did Pat do his thing and Pat just being Pat, that defense kept Brees in check. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was the first game they said that Drew Brees had ever started a game 0-5 passing, right? He didn't complete a pass for like he didn't complete a pass for like 5 or 6 passes. He went 0-5 in his first 5 pass attempts for the first time in his career. That was against the Chiefs. Pat didn't have nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? It was that defense. You dig? That defense came to play. They know they got to show up. Especially against somebody like Drew Brees. He's going to the Hall. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get a gold jacket. He ain't gonna get another Super Bowl ring, but he'll get a gold jacket. Either his first or second time up. If he'd have won another Super Bowl, he might have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Right now, he's probably second ballot. I don't know. Drew a bad boy though. Just can't mess with Pat. And these Chiefs, man, it's not gonna be. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for Dee Ford, we'd have 2 Super Bowls right now. Like, real talk. If it wasn't for Dee Ford, we would have 2 Super Bowls right now, which is why I see it as poetic justice that he went to San Francisco, and when we go back to the Super Bowl, we got to play San Francisco, and came back and scorched their ass. Anyway, uh, so that's my first thought. Shout out, salute to them Kansas City Chiefs, them 13-1 Kansas City Chiefs, and yeah, let's keep the ball rolling. You know what I'm saying? The AFC West, that's a wrap. The playoffs, we already in there. Now we're just trying to secure this #1 spot all the way through because, you know, Corona has affected and infected almost every aspect of life, including the NFL playoffs. So if you are the #2 seed in years past, you would also get a first round bye. Not during Corona. During Corona, it's only the #1 seed that gets a first round bye. Period. That is it. If you are not the #1 seed, you are not getting the bye. And with Pittsburgh losing, guess who the #1 seed in the NFL is? Them Kansas City Chiefs. All right. So there was quite a bit that went on in human past today. I came across some really good, really interesting things. You know what I'm saying? Like Flojo, I think today is her birthday. Samuel L. Jackson, I think today's his birthday. What else? Today, okay, so one thing that I want to talk about and kind of clear up if anyone was still under the misconception. So today marked the day that Jesse Jackson, now pay attention to how I frame this. Today was the day that Jesse Jackson urged Black people to stop using phrases like people of color, phrases like Negro, stop using phrases like Black, and begin to use the term African American. Now, because it was, especially at that time, this was 1988, so especially at that time, it was newfound knowledge, this term African American. It people thought that Jesse actually coined the phrase African American, and from his perspective, maybe he may have known, I don't know. From the perspective of those that heard this term African American, like one of the main Black leaders of that time said that when he set foot in Africa, he felt home, and I hear that from a lot of people who've been to Africa. They say they feel at home, like they feel like this is a place where they belong, when they go back to Africa. And so it was widely adopted. The phrase African American was widely adopted, and everybody gave credit to Jesse Jackson for decades for having coined the phrase African American. Well, after research, it was uncovered that Jesse Jackson did not coin the phrase African American. That phrase actually goes back to the late 18th century. It goes back some 233 years, and so there were 2 sermons. I mean, and it's actually printed. Like, it's like nobody that had, like audio equipment back then recording it, but it, print. It is in print that there was someone that was trying to sell 2 sermons, right? And these sermons were being sold by, quote, the African American, This is back in like 1780 something, you know. So yeah, 1780, 1880, 1980, you know what I'm saying? That's like 200 some odd, it's like 200 some odd years ago, you know. So yeah, Jesse Jackson did not coin the phrase African American. It was coined by, now I really don't know what the name of the quote African American was, but that phrase had been used 200 years before Jesse even, you know, thought about it. Also, today in human past, and again, I gotta explain why I call it human past. What's up, Mar? Salute, my dude. Again, I gotta stress why I call it human past, right? Because, like I say frequently, so-called American history, so-called world history, I call it history. These different translations of history do not always accurately depict human past, right? And again, it goes back to the story of the little bird that was flying over a village in Africa. So it's a little bird flying over a village in Africa, and once the villagers became aware of this little bird, the little bird goes down to the village and talks about his conquests over this young male lion, right? How he defeated this young male lion, to where one of the young boys in the village was asking his pops, he was like, "Father, could this be true? How could this be that this little bird has defeated a young male African lion?" You know, and the father looks down at his son and says, "Son, until the lion comes into our village, we will never know the truth." You know, we only getting half of the story because we getting half of the story from the bird. You know what I'm saying? But until the lion comes and tell his story, we're not getting the whole story. You know, and that's what Black people have endured for millennia. Forget centuries. We've dealt with this for millennia, about our lineage being stolen and rewritten to put other people in our places and uproot us. We have been thoroughly usurped from American and world history. And so that's why I tell human past. So today in human past, South Carolina and Mississippi passed Black codes laws in the South, you know, and this is significant because even though, and this was now pay attention to the date, pay attention to the date, 1865. Does that date mean anything to anyone? 1865. So the Emancipation Proclamation was declared in 1863. However, in a lot of southern states, Texas being the last one, which was the beginning of the forming of Juneteenth, 1865 is when it reached all of the states. So there was like a 2-year period where it was still slavery going on, even though there was this so-called Emancipation Proclamation that was in effect, right? Well, the Black codes, the Black codes was, and the adoption of the Black codes was Andrew Johnson's way, because remember, Lincoln got assassinated. So when Lincoln got to talking about freeing slaves, he was killed. He was killed a few days later. You know what I'm saying? A few days after there was the emancipation, and then it was another doctrine he was talking about coming up with, and they killed Lincoln. And so Andrew Johnson, not wanting to fall to the same fate, he seen what happened to Lincoln. He knew why, you know, and so he allowed these Black codes to pass. Right? It was legislation. You know, the South had their own whole government. You know, president, vice president, Congress, they had all that. You know, and so he allowed the Black codes to pass. Now, what were the elements of the Black codes? Well, the Black codes, one of the main things was you was basically still in slavery. You was just in contractual slavery. You couldn't walk around the streets if you didn't have papers stating you had to sign like a contract, you know, and this contract was a labor contract. If you didn't have, and I think it was, I actually forget which one it was, whether it was South Carolina, Mississippi, but this sounds like some Mississippi shit. That you could only be a servant or a laborer. No, not even a laborer. You could either be a servant or a farmer. Those were the only two occupations black people could be in the South at that time, or in, I want to say it's Mississippi, but it's either Mississippi or South Carolina, right? But you could only be a servant or a farmer in one of those two states during the black codes, you know. And so it's like, hold on. So slavery is abolished, except it was South Carolina. Good luck, Mar. So slavery is abolished, but now I have to sign a contract with you and state that I have a job for the next year as a laborer, as a servant, as a farmer. So wait a minute, let me get this straight. So I'm a freedman, which is what they called them, freedmen. So I'm free, but I still got to sign a contract to work for you? Hold on. This looks a whole lot, smells a whole lot like, tastes a whole lot like slavery to me, you know. It's just you telling me that I got a choice in it or not, you know. So, but really I don't have a choice, because this was legislation. These were laws that were being passed, the black codes. It was codified, you know, like this was just like it was written in the Constitution. This was legalized slavery, period. This was legalized slavery. So constitutionally, outside of and superseding the black codes legislatively, but not essentially, was within the 13th Amendment that abolished slavery. You still had that, you know, that backdoor cut to where we can still enslave you, you know. All we got to do is send you to prison. And when we send you to prison, we can legally enslave you. The prison system is filled with majority of what race? Wait a minute. Hold up. I wonder, should I ask Alexa or Google or something like that? Alexa, shut up. But let me answer that question for you. It's mostly black people that are caught up in the legal justice system, that's caught up in mass incarceration. But to those, let me see, Pacific Islanders, to those Asians, to those Latino, to pretty much everybody else back in those days, especially during the Reconstruction era, during the Black Codes era, during the Jim Crow era, during all those eras of time, they didn't just say black people. If you were, quote unquote, a person of color, meaning if you weren't white, you fell into that distinction. You did. So it wasn't just necessarily black people that fell victim to Jim Crow laws, that fell victim to this separate but equal bullshit that they ran. You dig what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't just black people. If you were considered a person of color, meaning if you weren't white, yeah, you fell victim to all that shit too. Yeah. So all that, oh man, that was just what black people went through. Black people went through that. That didn't have nothing to do with us. Latinx, yeah, it did. Pacific Islanders, yeah, it did. Asians, yeah, it did. You did. Especially the Asians, for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Who you think was right next to the black people on them railroad tracks? Who you think was right next to them black people in them ponds sifting out all of the gold? You know, you better listen to what Lupe Fiasco said in that song. You better listen to what Lupe said. That was real talk. You did. So, I done got stuck on today in human past. They can make that the whole show for real. But so here's what I'm really supposed to be talking about, and I'm gonna get to it. So it's like this. Um, from the perspective of the Southern plantation owners, they would always say things like, you know, this what they call it, this peculiar invention, or this peculiar this or this peculiar that, talking about slavery, you know, but swore up and down that slavery wasn't about or that the Civil War rather wasn't about, that the Confederacy wasn't about keeping and oppressing the slaves and being or upholding white supremacy and racism. If you do not understand racism and white supremacy, what it is and how it functions, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you, right? So, I mean, but like, as a Libra, the ability to look at both sides without judgment, if I'm just stating like realistic perspective facts, I get it. I get it. I swear I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could crush a whole industry because you stupid motherfuckers is paying y'all workers to pay for to work for y'all. Idiots. We got free labor down here. You know what I mean? Like, we down here getting it in, you know, sitting back sipping on lemonade while these poor Negroes is out there in the fields working, you know, and we don't pay them shit. Pay who? They're not even people. They're not even people. They don't have no rights. They don't have no rights. We got like 300,000 of them from Portugal. I think, yeah, the Dutch dropped them off, you know, and all them over there, they came from England, you know. Yeah, we've been getting them for a while now, you know. Free labor. That's why we killing y'all in the north. We killing y'all because y'all idiots is paying y'all workers. Stupid, you know. So of course I get it. of course I get it. If I ran a business and I got chains of my business, right? And and I got 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 people talking about they gonna work for me for free. Man, we're about to kill the game. Oh man, that's what's up, Mark. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like, if I got free labor and I can get this free labor for 20 years, let alone hundreds, you damn Skippy, I'm taking advantage of that. For as long as y'all want to work for me for free, I'm with you. That's it. You right about that, KJ. Like, slavery expanded the profit margin. Now here's the thing, right? So the slaves of the South, even during the Civil War, you know, helped the South, right? Now, I'm not going to get again into, because I think I covered this last week, and it's not that I'm not going to cover it again. I'm just not going to cover it again this morning. But there were black people that fought for the Confederacy, you know, despite popular opinion, despite popular knowledge. I'm not going to say popular opinion, but despite popular knowledge, there were black people that fought for the Confederacy. Yes, I'll get into it again maybe later on this week. You know, it depends. But you know, what do you think is gonna happen if you got free labor for your business? That's like drastically cutting your overhead, you know. So your profit margin is gonna grow because I don't have to pay my workers for the work that I get done. So everything coming to me is profit, you know. So those black codes that even after slavery was so-called abolished, after slavery was supposed to have been ended except for incarceration for a crime that you've been convicted of, here come the black codes. Here come the Jim Crow, you know. Here come all of this to say, yeah, so while you had to abide by one contract, the Constitution, or rather, while we had to abide by one contract, which was the Constitution, we gonna make y'all abide by another contract, which is a labor contract. And if you don't have a labor contract, guess what you can't do? Work. Guess what you can't make? Money. So you still in slavery. You dig? Now, what I find personally interesting is that these same motherfucking colonizers that came over here that ran away from England was saying that King George was trying to economically enslave them, was trying to enslave them by sifting away their rights, by making them subjects. Well, ain't that a bitch? You come over here and do the same thing and 1,000 times worse, because you literally enslaved a whole race of people, and then had the audacity to change the law, or rather adapt the law after a superseding law was passed, to say, we know what Blinken said, we know what the Constitution said, but we still gonna have y'all do what we want because we have to maintain white supremacy and power, you know. You are absolutely correct, Moore. There's a lot of people that got rich, a lot of black people that got rich from being on the south side of the war, you know. And the thing is, you know, who you think, what like what percentage of those people, for example, it's like when I say that if the ancestor Harriet Tubman would have shot you, I can't mess with you. These were some of these people. these is the people that I'm referring to, you know. But yeah, so on December 21st, 1865, South Carolina and Mississippi passed black codes. Also, again, shout out to Samuel L. Shout out to FloJo. And you know, pay attention. Pay attention. That's all I'm saying. If you don't know your history, you like a leaf that don't know that you part of a tree, especially if you black. Now, all cultures have goodness in their history somewhere. You know, like somewhere. But nobody goes as far back as we do. You know, nobody. And so know your history. Learn your history. You know Kwanzaa coming up. You know I'm gonna be talking about that. So Kwanzaa is coming up. We got virtual Kwanzaa celebrations this year with the Black United Front of Kansas City. And so that's gonna be interesting. And I'm more excited now after having seen how Mbuff did Umoja Karamu, you know, I'm way more excited about Kwanzaa being virtual than I was at first when I first realized that we were still going to be in the Corona era during Kwanzaa and we wasn't going to actually be able to go down to Kwanzaa celebrations. I was like, man, Kwanzaa gonna suck this year, and I really thought Umoja Karamu was gonna suck, but Umoja Karamu was cool. You know, Umoja Karamu was cool, and so now I'm really excited to see what's gonna take place during Kwanzaa. So remember, support and patronize small and black businesses. They need you. We need you. Go to anybody that has not already, go to my organization, scopekc.org. Myself, my business partner, and one of my best friends, Johnny Waller, man, we got Scope KC, and we doing some good things, you know, and we got some even bigger things on the horizon. So support and patronize Scope KC. Check out the website, see what we got going on, you know, support small and black businesses. Support the black dollar, man. Keep the black dollar in the black community for longer than 6 hours. You know, that's as long as the black dollar stays in the black community, is about 6 hours on average. So you're talking about $1 trillion plus people that only keeps their money in their community for 6 hours. That don't make no sense. Check me out on Areas of Human Activity on Spotify and a few other FM stations. I just really don't remember all of them, to be honest with you. So I just say Spotify, and you can find the rest of them. As well as check me out on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like I said at the beginning, I just found out that in order to use the mobile app for YouTube to go and live stream on the mobile app, you have to have 1,000 subscribers. I do not yet have 1,000 subscribers, and so they blocked me from being able to use the mobile app. So that is my goal, to have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And so that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm about to pump the show super hard. I'm gonna come with really great content. I thought I was coming with really good content on AM Opinionated thus far, but if I have underwhelmed you, prepare to be overwhelmed. We got a great show coming this Wednesday, so check out Notoriously Opinionated, the Primetime Podcast, on Wednesdays at 8:30. Catch me on AM Opinionated every morning, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. This has been your man, Negus the God. Peace. Remember, seize the moment. You might not make it through the whole day. I'm out. Peace.